Wednesday, August 21st, I think. 6:48, we just left the fog, the dense fog back there off of the wall. Thankfully, as we are coming out, things are starting to clear. We've got the moon. There's the light there in front of us, marking the entry into the channel going up to Portage. Had a fishing boat, well, had a commercial fishing boat leave about 6:30 this morning, and personal fishermen leave us or come up behind us and take off, and he's already on his way. But he's familiar with these waters, and he doesn't have a keel, so Bill is very busy making sure we're safe, since he can't see out the isinglass because it's fogged over.
Just before 7 o'clock on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, on our way to Marquette. So later on the same day, about 9:33 in the morning, and that is the light, if it can be seen on this, the Huron Island light on, of course, Huron Island. And actually pretty impressive looking. The light is up here on top of this promontory, and there's another building over here, a couple of buildings actually, large buildings, obviously no longer in use. I don't know if they were maybe life-saving stations. It didn't really look like there's any easy access to the water. Maybe it was a former light. It doesn't look like that either though. So anyway, still on our way to Marquette. Actually have a wind we could probably be sailing in, but Huron Bay is out here, and we've been getting all the wind and wave coming up that bay. I have a feeling that once we get in the shadow of the land over here again, it's all going to die, and that's going to happen pretty quickly. A couple of days ago, the forecast looked pretty good for sailing to Marquette. Yesterday, the forecast changed and remains the same today for winds pretty much under 5 knots out of the south. Right now they're out of the southwest, and more than 5 for sure. But it's supposed to be out of the south at about 5 knots, and then backing to the east by about midday. So that's if that forecast holds up, since it's not in our favor, it probably will. Almost certainly will. I'm afraid we'll be wasting our time getting the sails up. And we still have over 40 miles to go. So we've still got a long day without messing around with trying to sail at a few knots.
3 knots.
3 or 4 knots, yep. Anything to add, hun?
That'll work.
Yeah, this one's a little boring. I guess for a day of motoring, I hope it's boring, because if it's not boring, then something's wrong.
I'll go with boring.
Let's go with boring. I just thought I'd record this while I had it set up. So there's Charlevoix, that's where I got the chart plotter working, and that kind of shows our entire track around up to and around Lake Superior so far. This is where we're going to end up today, which leaves us a long way to go. And I've said it before, but you know, all this looks really good when you're sitting in your living room looking at the charts in the wintertime, daydreaming about where you're going to go this summer. And once you start looking at the reality of it, this section through here really sucks. You've got, for a boat like this, you've got Marquette, you've got Munising. I'm not even sure that there's a marina there, but there's some anchorages there, at least behind the island. Grand Island, I think, is the island that's there. And as far as I can tell, there's almost nothing up here other than Grand Marais. And it's got some problems. It's a little harbor of refuge. Looking at the GLCC thing, it says it has debris on the bottom. Regardless, everybody agrees it's kind of a deep water anchorage, and there are a bunch of mooring balls in there that take up most of the anchorage. And so finding a spot to anchor with any room to swing is difficult. We did get a bit of good news today. According to GLCC, Whitefish Bay, or Whitefish Point rather, has been dredged as of August 1st. There are tons of reports of shoaling in the channel there that you pretty much had to hug the wall if you were going to get in there at all. And so that one wasn't sounding too hot, but we're feeling a little better about that. So anyway, yeah, the lack of time and the lack of options getting back are source of a little concern at this point. So anyway, we'll see how it goes, but thought that was kind of interesting. Well, a little travel update for posterity. We're just off of Big Bay and Big Bay Point Lights, which is right out here somewhere on this, invisible again, I'm sure, and feeling pretty ashamed right now. Probably had at least 15 miles where we could have sailed.
Maybe 10.
Yeah, maybe 10, 12, 15, somewhere in that range, hard to say. Winds were forecast to be southerly, well, variable actually, at less than 10 knots all morning in the near shore forecast, and we're near shore. Most of the buoy reports were much lighter than that, but where we were at, we were actually getting a pretty good wind. It was almost on the stern, and I think we had possibly some frustrating sailing had we gotten the light air sail up. Anyway, coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't. And the winds are, it looks like they're veering instead of backing. I kind of figured from south, kind of a southerly direction to an easterly direction. Nature would take the short way around, but it looks like it might be taking the long way. So anyway, they're supposed to be out of the east today, which is probably not going to improve our angle much. We're down to about 2 knots apparent. At this speed on this heading, about 7 knots, I think, true right on the stern again. So after we made the bend back there. And I don't know if there's much more to report than that. Anything to add, hon?
Just getting caught up on the log.
Michelle's getting caught up on her log, her little journal that documents our trip. And yeah. So I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Feeling a little anxiety. We're hurrying to get back down to the lower lakes so that we don't have to hurry. But we started doing a little adding up, and it's probably gonna be about a week before we get to Lake Huron. So we've got a couple of nights here in Marquette. Our mail is catching up to us here tomorrow. We're not going to linger. We're going to spend 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow night, and get a little bit of stuff in the mail that I need to get out to the tenants before the first of the month, and probably catch up on some office work further down the line somewhere. So 2 nights here for sure. We're kind of toying with the idea of doing an overnighter. Just I think it's about 100 miles from Marquette to Whitefish Point. Apparently they've dredged that harbor, and so it's not as tricky to get into anymore. So we're feeling a little bit better about stopping there, spend at least one night, maybe two, because we'd really like to go to the museum, and then head down to Sault Ste. Marie. We'd like to spend 2 nights at Sault Ste. Marie on the American side this time, because we've never been there before, and you need to see the locks and everything without us going through them, see how the professionals do it, and whatever else there is to do there. Maybe we can find some buffalo wings and some beer there. So,
And jelly bellies.
and jelly bellies. Yeah, run out of jelly bellies, and I'm addicted. So, and then of course it's a day down to Lake Huron. I don't know. We'll probably stay at Detour again. It's not an absolute, but my guess is we'll probably be ready to spend a night somewhere rather than try to find an anchorage after motoring all the way down the river. So hopefully we can do some sailing. We just made our bend here, and we've got a good 22 miles on the engine again, it looks like. So we're still the whole day 60 miles, and I'm pretty averse to running on the engine. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So is there anything else on? A few more. That is all. Ooh, we got a little bit of a mess to clean up back here, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Grilled a couple of green chili cheeseburgers on the Nomad last night, and we were tied up to the concrete wall, so we had the big ball fenders out. Guess while we're just motoring along here, we might as well get stuff put away, huh?
Sure.
Better.
Better.
Well, that kind of caught me off guard. I could see something out on the horizon, looked at it through the binoculars. I had trouble at distance trying to reconcile what I was looking at. And then it started to appear pretty obvious. I was seeing, in addition to a couple of towers, a tree. And indeed, on the chart plotters, Navionics and the Ray Marine version, they show a light, Granite Island light, but no island, and nothing other than deep water there. And so I pulled out the paper chart and consulted that, and Same deal, it does say Granite Island, but only shows a light. This one does show a little bit of shallower water, 73 feet and 61 feet, but you'd never know from looking at the chart that there's an island out there. So anyway, things that make you go, huh? It is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, and we're in Marquette. That is a pretty impressive looking ore dock. Well, pretty impressive construction. I don't have any ore docks to compare it to. Except the other one up at the near Presque Isle is no less impressive, probably more so, though we only saw it from a distance. There's Michi. Say hey, Michi.
Hey, Michi.